Hi, this is Matt. Something I've been looking into recently, and it seems to bring together some of these notions of time, and also, Ros, what you said about the Maori, where autism is in their own space and time, but particularly related to Rhiann's sort of thoughts about pattern sensitivity and seeing white noise. So from a physics perspective, there's links here where I think quantum physics and most modern physics is saying exactly the same things as we are here, and also as a lot of religions do. They're all saying basically the same thing. When you take the notion of there is a cosmic oneness, or it's mycelium, whatever you want to call it, and we are individuals within it, but we are part of it. When you've got that model, you could say species have, a species has a sort of a range of vision, a range of the spectrum you can see. There's a range of skills, and then robins are able to see gravitation. That was something that's a theory that's being proved. It's quite a new theory, and that's due to quantum entanglement of electrons in the retina of a robin. So the quantum entanglement thing from 2017, that's actually getting practical use in explaining. It's to do with migration, and there's various different forms of navigation. There's a star-based, there's magnetic field-based, there's all sorts. Different. You think all birds should have the same one, but they don't. With robins, quantum entanglement of electron pairs in atoms in the retinas of robins allow them to see gravitation, because the gravitational field, light will split the quantumly linked electron pairs, and gravitation will have a brief effect on them before they recombine and then re-release the energy as what comes across as a light source.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, I wonder how long that's been a part of that species. If older species had, when that came in.
Yeah, I mean, time people knew that there were bits of the colour spectrum that other people could see, and it turns out that other animals could. And being able to see gravitation is not that kind of spectrum. It's like a different spectrum. So, it's pretty clear that there's way more variety than we ever think of. And when there are lots of species which have individuals which are parts of a whole oneness, obviously that would apply in a kind of animistic view to everything. And now we can't readily communicate with robins, but we can communicate to an extent with some domesticated animals. So when you've got a whole web of communication, there'll be links in between parts of all the units. So we can communicate with maybe some dogs and cats, and they can communicate with other things. It goes all the way through that. What format does the communication take? And at more distant levels. An experience I had recently with a tree was very pattern-based, and it was very clear to me. I was getting very clear impressions of what was being said to me, and a lot of it was expressed through patterns. It was kind of a strange experience the first time I experienced it. And also, I've been trying to model what a one-dimensional life form would be like, or a two-dimensional, or a life form which doesn't travel in time. And I think I've got reasonable kind of visual models, could draw diagrams of it. For the white noise, a one-dimensional creature, entity, if it's going to kind of reproduce and spread eggs around, which is essentially what we do really anyway, what our perception of it would be if there was a kind of a lot of, if you went through a field of eggs on them, for example, what it would look like would be when you see lots and lots of dots suddenly in a patch of air. That's what it would appear like to a three-dimensional thing. And you can sort of look at that in 2 dimensions and so forth. So that's my current thoughts around seeing white noise, and also seeing patterns, in that it's tapping into parts of the collective interconnectedness, which we haven't really paid much attention to, probably which a lot of indigenous peoples have got a better grasp of.
Well, and yeah, what I've always felt about visual snow is that it is there, and then I think that's one of the reasons why some people feel like they don't have tremendous visual effects from psychedelics, because they have other visual noise happening, and that's so normalized that perhaps, you know, like the walls have always been